Welcome back to the last episode of Around the Yard for the spring semester. I'm Megan Dunn.
And I'm Mark Hartzell. Here are some of the top stories from this past semester.
Various presidential candidates stopped by CFC and the Charleston area to campaign. Donald Trump is currently leading the Republican primaries, while Hillary Clinton is leading the Democratic primaries.
CFC's Boundless campaign exceeded their goal of $125 million. They've raised over $127 million since beginning their efforts back in October of 2009.
Joe Riley, the former mayor of Charleston, stepped down back this past January. Riley, who is one of the longest-serving mayors in the country, will now be serving as an executive in residence beginning in July.
The college's money shortfall has been a major concern around campus. McConnell blames it on low out-of-state student enrollment rates.
The theater department is putting on one last play for the academic year. Reporter Riley Clark has a story.
This is Riley Clark with CisternYard Video. Last week, the college's theater department put on the show By the Way, Meet Vera Stark by Lynn Nottage. The show starred some new faces on the big stage, one of which was Lydia Brown, who played the lead role of Vera Stark.
It's one of the first major roles I've ever done, and it was very exciting to get into all of the research that goes along with finding the character. I work with Joy Vandervoort Cobb, but I first met her when I was working on a dance piece that was a collaboration between the theater and dance department.
The director, Joy Vandervoort Cobb, had some comments to say about the controversial theme of African Americans performing in the 1930s.
In terms of directing the show, the biggest challenge is making sure that the company understood some of what these African American actors were going through and recognizing what it means today and what it meant then for an African American to pass for a different race.
Like the director, Charlotte Lindbach, the dramaturge of the show, says the show educates audiences on the issues of the past.
It shows a different side to history because movies up until probably fairly recently were told from the white perspective, and Vera Stark shows a different side to it. It shows that these people were important, these people still are important, and it's time that their stories are told.
The show is a beautiful and funny story that practically forces the audience to leave thinking about the perspectives of the past and how they've influenced the future. This is Riley Clark with CisternYard.
Sperry Charleston Race Week occurred from April 14th through the 16th. Tracy Webster has a story.
The 2016 Sperry Charleston Race Week took place this past weekend. It hosted sailors from 27 U.S. cities and 10 different countries.
This event was a regatta unlike any other. Overall, 236 sailboats competed in the races. The sailboats competed from Thursday, April 14th to Sunday, April 17th. Several College of Charleston sailing team members competed in the races. At the regatta, sailors saw some of the toughest conditions this year.
The conditions this week were pretty dynamic. There was some pretty big waves and some high winds.
Despite these conditions, sailors still came together and put forth their best effort.
Sailing is a real community of a sport, so there's a lot of camaraderie between different boats, and it's just like such friendly people that they're all just out there, all want to sail fast and all want to have a great time.
3 members of the CFC sailing team will be in the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. Paris Hinken will represent the U.S., Stefano Pachura will represent Peru, and Enrique Arathon will represent El Salvador.
For CisternYard, this is Tracy Webster.
Now here's Sam with a recap of the biggest sports stories of the semester.
Thanks, guys. Wrapping up another solid spring semester of sports, the baseball team heads into the final stretch of the season. Their season runs through May 21st, but under first-year head coach Matt Heath, the team already has 2 wins over top 25 opponents, including a win at number 2 South Carolina and a series split with University of California, Santa Barbara, which featured the team's first tie since the 2000 season. The softball season heads into the final stretch as their final game is May 7th. They built up an excellent run at the beginning of the season and remain 4 games over 500. The women's tennis and men's tennis Colonial Athletic Association tournament runs this Thursday through Sunday as the men's team heads into the tournament as the number 2 seed and the women's team heads in as the number 4 seed. The women's golf team finished runner-up in the conference this year after the tournament last weekend, as the men's team will head to the Colonial Athletic Association tournament for this weekend. In sailing, the defending national champion sailing team heads into the final stretch of the season ranked number 3 in the country after a second place finish at the Navy Regatta last weekend. The College of Charleston will have 3 sailors representing the college at the Rio Olympic Games this summer, including Paris Henkin, the first ever woman to qualify as an Olympian from the college. She will represent the United States, as well as Stefano Pechera, who will represent Peru, and Enrique Arathun, who will represent El Salvador. And that's all for sports this semester. Be sure to follow along with the Cougars the rest of this season on cfcsports.com, and go Cougars.
That's all we have for this episode of Around the Yard.
Be sure to leave your comments below and be sure to subscribe to CisternYard Video to stay updated on everything happening around campus.
Also follow us on both Twitter and Instagram at CisternYard_video.
For Around the Yard, I'm Megan Dunn.
And I'm Mark Hartzell.